What's up, guys? How you doing? My name is Brad Juice of Juice Cruises, and I help people book cruises the right way. And if you're thinking about cruising for the first time, I already know what happens. You get stuck researching, you get confused. So this masterclass is going to explain to you everything. And by the end of this masterclass, it's probably going to be 90 minutes. I have it scheduled for 90 minutes. Maybe it goes over, maybe it goes less. But let's shoot for 90 minutes. Uh, we're gonna we're gonna look into all of that stuff, right? We're gonna make this cruising for first timers less confusing. All right. So when you book wrong, what does that cost you? First timers often underestimate the real cost. A cheap cruise can become expensive fast, like real fast, right? A couple sees a cruise advertised at $1,200, and by the time they board, they already spent $3,800 and have no idea where the money went. Or a family, they might pick a cruise line that has nothing for the kids, it has nothing for the husband that likes to gamble or doesn't, maybe. And everyone on the cruise is miserable on day two. A solo traveler books a cheap cabin near the engine room and spends the whole week feeling the vibration and the noise of that cruise ship moving around. So they're like, man, what did I do? None of this is bad luck. It's just you not knowing, as a first time cruiser or second or third, what you're looking for and what exactly you need to, what you're trying to, what fits you. So this is what the course is about. All right. We're going to get into it. The cruise probably wasn't bad. The match was bad. And we're going to get into the 5 myths. Myth number one. I don't know if this is still a myth, but I think a lot of people still think it, that cruises are only for older people. False. The average cruiser today is in their 30s and 40s. And we have a lot of people that I'm booking. I'm booking people cruises that they're in the 20, 22, 23. You know, a lot of younger kids are cruising. They prefer to, go on a cruise as opposed to go to another place, right? So cruising is in. I would say I would make a case that a lot of 20-year-olds are cruising as well. So cruising is young. It's not just for the older people, right? It's not for seniors only. Okay. Myth number two is that there's nothing to do on a ship. Incorrect. You've seen Utopia of the Seas. I hope you've seen it. You've seen Carnival Celebration. You've seen MSC World America. Probably seen it on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at Juice Cruises. All right. Um, myth number three. Oh, I'm sorry. Myth number two. I'm sorry. We got modern ships. We got go karts, goat tracks. We got F1 experiences on cruises. We got water parks, Broadway shows, dining options galore. Right. Myth number three. Everything is included in the price. It's false. Unless you paying for that premium cruise, right? Like you got MSC Yacht Club, you got Amma Waterways, you got Canard, Silver Sea. If you're paying for those cruises, those things are included most of the time, right? You know, Explorer journeys. If you're paying that premium price, but most of the time when it says included in the price, that doesn't mean your alcohol. That doesn't mean your Wi-Fi. That doesn't mean gratuities. Okay, it means the basic things like where you're sleeping, buffet, simple dining. That's it. Myth number four, is that four? One, two, three, four. Should have numbered these. Myth number four is you will get seasick. That's not true. You will not get seasick. These ships are huge. They got stabilizers, so you'll never feel like you're on a ship. You never notice that you're on a ship because you got these ships where they have stabilizers. Technology is so good nowadays. You don't. It's not the Titanic. All right. We're in 2026. We got technology to make you not feel like you're gonna get seasick. And myth number five is cruising is too expensive. Right? When you book it right, this is one of the most value packed vacations you could take. Okay? Remember that. Remember, remember, remember. What your fare actually includes. Your room, called the cabin, for every single night of the trip is included. You're not gonna be sleeping on the on the on the hallway on day 6. No, your room is included throughout the whole every single night. All the meals in the main restaurant in the buffet area, that's included every day at no extra charge. Entertainment on board, the shows, the pool, depending on the shows, right? You got to check the shows, the pools, the deck parties, the daily activities is included, right? Check with your cruise line, but most of these things should be included, all right? The ship moving from the port to port, destination to destination, it's included. So you don't have to worry about how you're going to get back from Bahamas. It's coming back to your to the home port, okay? And this is pretty much your base. Everything on top is what's included, and that's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover in the other modules, but the module 3, but that's what's included, all right? What's not included, or probably what's never included: drinks, cocktails, every soda, specialty coffee is not included. You got to buy that in advance. Wi-Fi is most likely not included. It's not free to surf the web. Your gratuities are not included. You got to set your budget aside for that. We're going to go into it in the future slides. We'll dive into the gratuities, right? Activities, the shore excursions are not included. If you're doing excursions in these different countries, that's not included. You got to look into budgeting extra for that. Upgraded restaurants are not included. You want the fancy restaurants on the ship, you got to pay for it. Okay? Keep that in mind. Words you need to know: embarkation. What is the meaning of the word embarkation? This is the day you show up at the dock and you get on the ship to start your ship, to start your trip. Debarkation is the last day on your trip, when you get off the ship and head home. Sea day is a day where the ship does not stop anywhere. You stay on the ship and enjoy the ship like a resort. Port day is when the ship stops at the destination, when it docks at a destination, and you get off and you explore. Itinerary is the full schedule of your trip. Tendering is when the ship is too big to pull up to the dock, so a small boat ferries you back and forth to shore. That's what tendering means. Part 2, real quick: onboard credit, OBC. This is free money that the cruise line puts into your account so that you could spend on anything on the ship. All right. Port fees. This is the extra mandatory charges added to every cruise fare. This is the government and destination fee, not the cruise line fee. Right. Gratuities is the daily tip amount automatically charged to your account, usually $18 to $20 per person per day. That's the gratuities, like the tip. Okay. Guaranteed cabin. You choose the type of room you want, but the cruise line picks your exact room for you. Muster drill. That's a required safety demonstration every single passenger must complete before the ship leaves. It's like fire drill. We got the muster drill. You got to know what to do in the case of an emergency. And you got wave season. Wave season is January through March every year, when cruise lines offer their biggest deals and best promotions. This is January through March every year, all right? Let's look at the part 3 words. Inside cabin, room with no window. Balcony cabin, a room with your own private outdoor space, right? Shore excursion is the paid tour or paid activity you do at the destination when the ship docks. Final payment is usually 90 days before your trip, when you need to pay the remainder of the balance of your bill. Lido deck, This is the main outdoor deck on the ship and sail away party. This is the free celebration on deck when the ship leaves its port. Don't miss the sail away party. It's usually really fun. All right. Oh my, I just had some flashbacks of some sail away parties. All right. So, got to think about it. The vacation is built for you. Every cruise line, every traveler has its cruise line, or every vacation is built for you. So, if you're traveling with kids, there are cruise lines with kids clubs, water slides, and family dining that runs all day. If you're going as a couple, there are adult only ships like Virgin Voyages. We'll get into it. I'm gonna get into it. Right? Adult only ships designed entirely around relaxation and premium experiences. If you're going solo or with a group of friends, there are more options built for you. Like, for example, usually, people usually didn't used to travel solo or cruise solo. Now that's something that's becoming really popular among travelers. So we have a lot of those options right now in 2026. All right. The mistake most people make is picking the wrong one. And we're going to dive into it. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next module. Hopefully you took down some notes. All right. 5 decisions, one perfect cruise. All right. Welcome to module 2. So module 1 explained the cruise basics. Now we're going to choose the right cruise. The right cruise starts with 5 decisions. First, what kind of traveler are you? Second, what cruise line fits you? Third, what ship size do you want? Fourth, what destination makes sense? And fifth, what budget are you comfortable with? Those are the those are the decisions that make everything easier. So don't just start with price only. Start with travel style first. Price matters, yes, but your travel style, the fit matters more for you. The wrong fit is going to create disappointment. It's your first cruise, right? The wrong fit is not it. It's a rhyme. That rhymes. All right. The right fit is going to make the cruise feel easy. All right. Next, let's identify your traveler type. All right. What kind of traveler are you? Your personality helps choose your cruise. Price should not be the first filter. All right. The relaxer wants peace and zero stress. They want beaches, drinks, and calm days. The explorer wants movement and new places. All right. They want to be moving around. They want to go to ports, different ports. They want to do, different tours. They want the full itinerary. The foodie, that's me, cares about memorable meals. They want better dining. They want unique dining experiences. The party person, also me, wants nightlife and energy, right? They want music, they want bars, they want live crowds. The family planner, they need options for everyone. Kids, parents, grandparents, all that matters. All those people matter when they're deciding their cruise if you're a family planner. Your traveler type changes the best cruise. All right. Don't copy someone else's vacation. Choose based on how you actually like to relax. All right. Now let's look at your personality, your cruise line. Okay. So different cruise lines fit different travelers. Relaxers may like celebrity or princess. These lines usually feel calmer, premium. Foodies also may like celebrity or princess because celebrity and princess they have strong Dining experiences. The people who like to explore, they may like Royal Caribbean. Families also fit well for Royal Caribbean. Okay. Royal gives them activities, they give them variety, they give them structure, right? Also, families probably will like Carnival as well because Carnival also has a lot of family, it's a family fit, right? A lot of activities for the kids. If you want to party, you may like Carnival or Norwegian. Carnival has casual fun. They got short cruises, 3 night cruises, like for example, Carnival Conquest or Carnival Valor, right? High energy. Norwegian also is very flexible. They have lively options. Value travelers may consider MSC cruises, very strong pricing value MSC, right? So if you like value, that might be MSC for you. That might be Margaritaville. All right. Adults wanting no kids may consider Virgin Voyages. Virgin is designed for adults only cruising, no kids on the ship. These are the starting points, right? They're not absolute rules. Those are just the starting points. The ship and the itinerary still matter. All right. So keep that in mind. Now let's look at the four biggest cruise lines. Okay. Carnival is usually strong for budget travelers. It's casual, it's social, it's energetic. It could be also great for first timers. It works well for those short getaways. Royal Caribbean is strongest for variety. It works well for families and adventure. Those big royal ships offer many activities. Norwegian is strong for flexible cruising, dining, and scheduling. It feels less traditional. Norwegian often has lively itineraries also. Celebrity feels more premium, more relaxed. Food and service are very strong. Celebrity fits more for the couples, I say. Couples who want calm style. There's no cruise line that's best for everyone. That's why understanding your personality, who's traveling, your traveler type, is so important because each line solves a different travel need. Okay. Let's look at big ship or small ship. What do you want to do? Those big ships, they have passengers 3,000 to 7,000 passengers, right? More restaurants, more entertainment, more things to do every single day. Those small ships under 1,000 passengers are more intimate, quieter, usually more expensive because it's premium. You get that premium cruise that you do more things on port probably, right? You go to places where you could never reach with the smaller ships. Big ships are easier to navigate as a first timer, more options and more structure to your day. And those smaller ships are probably better for a more experienced traveler or more experienced cruiser, someone that wants something that's more personal, more exploratory. All right. For your first cruise, I'd say go big or go home. Right. Because you want those options and you want to be able to feel like you're doing something, um, just having a good time. Right. All right. So um, now we're going to look at the Caribbean, Alaska, or Mediterranean, where you want to go. So destinations change the whole cruise mood, right? Caribbean is usually easiest for first timers. Warm weather, right? Which makes planning feel simple. You got beaches, you got pools. It fits the cruise vibe, right? Caribbean cruises are often more affordable, right? Flights are easier for Americans to go to those, ports like Miami or Los Angeles. right? Alaska, if you want to go to Alaska, Alaska's really popular. It's better for those nature lovers. It's less beaches and less nightlife, right? Those Mediterranean cruises are port heavy and cultural. They offer history, they offer food, they offer European cities. Those Mediterranean trips usually cost more overall because you got to pay for your flights, probably your hotel, which add to the budget. So for the first timers, I recommend going Caribbean. That's the safest. It's familiar, it's accessible, it's forgiving. All right. How long should your first cruise be? It's a big question that a lot of people ask because the cruise length matters, right? 3 night cruises are quick test trips, right? They help you try cruising at affordable price, right? Those 3 night cruises, you can get 3 night cruises for under $500, right? If you were a couple, you probably could get cruises $200. It depends, right? Every cruise line is different, but I'm just telling you, those are your quick test trips, but they feel rushed. That's the thing. 4 night cruises give you a little bit more of a breathing room, right? Short cruises often also are more geared to the party crowd. So keep that in mind. Those 7 night cruises, which is the strongest first cruise length, I'd say, it gives you more time to settle in. You get more, you get more sea days and more port days, and you actually get to experience the ship in a proper way, right? 10 to 14 nights can be amazing, but for a first time cruiser, probably that's a big commitment. Those longer cruises require more of a budget and more time off of work and stuff like that. So 7 nights is usually the sweet spot. It's not mandatory, but that's where I feel you get the best balance, right? It's long enough for you to enjoy and short enough to manage, right? So now let's talk about private islands, right? Private islands are probably some of the most important things when you're cruising as a first time, right? Sometimes people go on a cruise ship for the ship, and also I've met people that they want to go on a cruise to go to these private islands because these private islands are really really nice. Okay, so they could be the major highlight of the cruise, right? Right. So there are cruise line controlled beach destinations. So Royal Caribbean has Perfect Day at Coco Cay or Coco Key, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know. Coco Cay is in the Bahamas, and MSC has Ocean Cay. It's a marine reserve. It's in the Bahamas as well. Holland America has Half Moon Key, right? These stops can feel easier than those public ports because you usually step into the ready-made beach day. Beach chairs, food, facilities nearby, right? Some activities may be included, right? So it depends, right? Sometimes these private islands are like I said, they're the highlight. But also remember some premium areas cost extra. Crowds depend on the ship and the date, right? So think wave season, right? It's probably going to be less people. Summertime is probably going to be more people on these islands. So you got to think about that. Don't assume everything also is free on these private islands. Private islands can simplify first time cruising because they're often great for families. They're also great for a relaxed beach. And yeah, so let's talk group travel now. Traveling in a group. If you're traveling with a group, it changes everything. Okay. Group travel needs a real plan. Do not let everybody just book randomly. Random bookings create confusion. All right, let me get some water real quick. Apologies. Cabins may be spread out on this deck, on the aft. It's a mess. So it's better when you want to book a group cruise, to book probably, together, right? So it's everything is easier. So you guys can match your dining, payment could be matched, like so you guys can. It's less stressful, when you book together. And also those group spaces, they probably can unlock extra benefits. So, you know, depending on, I think usually, like for example, Carnival, it gives you, if it's 8 people, that's a group, that's considered a group, and those, they can unlock those group perks. So that could be onboard credit, which we learned in the previous slides, which is just the credit that they give you that you could spend on the ship, right? They can give you dining coordination if you book with a group together, event planning help, dining help. So you just gotta, talk to your cruise consultant. If you don't have a cruise consultant, send me a message, right? I can help you book those group cruises together so you can unlock those perks. All right. So, 3 travelers, 3 perfect cruises. So, we have a young budget couple that needs value. So, Carnival Western Caribbean cruise could make sense because it's fun without extreme pricing. You have a family with young kids that needs activities. You probably could go Royal Caribbean with Coco Cay, which, it has a lot of beach time, a lot of kids activities there. On the private island on Coco Cay, you have water parks, right? So parents get the structure and it's easy planning. A solo foodie needs a different match, right? I wouldn't tell a solo foodie to go on Royal Caribbean, on Utopia of the Seas. Maybe I would, depending on their travel style. I'll probably recommend them to go to Celebrity, right? These are not random suggestions. Each cruise matches a different type of traveler: budget, age, energy, priorities, right? So that's the point. That's why you you got to do your research, and probably when you talk with your cruise consultant, they can lead you the right way. And yeah, we could probably put you in the right direction. So, like I said in the previous slide, don't just copy someone else's itinerary. Match the cruise to your actual lifestyle. All right, guys, welcome to the third module, guys. So here we're gonna talk about the price that you see is not the price that you pay. So you might see a price online. That's usually just the starting point. The advertised fare is not the full vacation price. So you might see a cruise $1,200 online or $1,400 online, but that number does not include everything. Most first timers end up spending 40 to 60% more, not because they got scammed, but because they didn't plan for the extras. Drinks can add up to the final price. Wi-Fi can add up to the final price. Gratuities can add up to the final price. Shore excursions, specialty dining, travel insurance. Hopefully, you guys are getting travel insurance. That can add to the final price. Flights and hotels, right? This is not. This is why the the real number matters. So the goal is not to scare you out of a cruise. The goal is to make sure that you show up ready. If you plan correctly, cruising could still be a great value. So you just need to be able to budget that, uh, budget from the real total, not the number that you got interested that started you. So let's look at the gratuities. We'll talk about the gratuities. So what are they and what they cost? So gratuities are an automatic daily service charge. They're added onto your onboard account. So it's basically like you're tipping a crew daily, right? So that includes the cabin crew, dining staff. It also supports the behind the scenes service teams. So $18 to $20 per person per day. That's like the solid planning estimate that you should look into, that you should keep in mind. It varies by cruise line, it varies by itinerary and stuff like that. The length, obviously. So that's what you should plan to budget around with the gratuities. It also depends on, like I said, the cabin category. Suites usually pay more than standard cabins. So on a 7 night cruise for 2 people, this can add up, right? At $18 per person, that's $252. At $20 per person daily, that's $280. So that's before drinks, that's before Wi-Fi, that's before excursions, that's before the dining. So That's why first timers usually get surprised, right? Gratuities feel small daily, but they hit harder across the whole cruise. So I try to knock out, or I knock out, I prepaid a gratuity before sailing. So I add it into the the payment with the full cruise. So you should be looking into that when you book your cruise, or if you have a cruise consultant, you should be knocking that out as soon as possible. All right, drink packages. Do the math. Do the math on drink packages. Drink packages can save money. They can also waste money. You decide, but it depends on how you drink. So, $90 to $130 per person daily. So that's what you should plan for on many lines. Prices change by cruise line. Prices can change by ship, by sailing, and the drink package is usually the flat daily rate. So it covers eligible drinks during the cruise. It does not always cover every single drink. So premium bottles may still cost extra. Some cruise lines have a drink price limits. Some require all adults to buy in a cabin, right? So if you're on like Carnival, for example, you have everybody in the cabin has to get a drink package. I think MSC also does the same. Yes, they do the same. So break even is about 5 to 6 drinks daily. That includes alcohol, soda, coffee, water. So if you drink light, pay as you go may be cheaper, right? But if you drink often, those that drink package may make sense. So I'm not telling you what to do. Do not buy just because everybody else does, but you decide how you drink and how the math works based on your habits. So think about the port days too. So you may drink less when off the ship. Think about that. So yeah. Now let's talk about Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. I usually don't get Wi-Fi on a cruise ship, but I understand some people may need to have Wi-Fi and be connected. So that's also extra, right? $25 to $35 per device usually is a good estimate to plan for. Some lines cost less, some packages cost more, some promotions may include Wi-Fi, right? Like for example, MSC, I just booked somebody MSC. They got a Wi-Fi promotion where they, second or third device was cheaper, or they got, some different options where it was cheaper, but depends on the cruise line. So cruise line Wi-Fi uses satellite Wi-Fi, so that doesn't mean it's like the same Wi-Fi back home. So it may be slower. Usually, it's slower than the Wi-Fi back home. It's also, like I said, less reliable. Weather can affect the connectivity. Location can also affect the connectivity. Heavy ship usage also can affect the speed. So yeah, skipping Wi-Fi can save you around 175 to $245 um, in budget, right? In your budget. So it makes sense. It may make sense on a 7 night cruise, but it's if you disconnect, it's just you just saving money. So if you need to buy Wi-Fi, buy it before you sail because it's cheaper when you buy it before you sail. And yeah, let's look at the ship or the shore excursions. Shore excursions, right? Budget for these. Shore excursions are paid activities in port. This is one of the biggest forgotten costs when you cruise because a port day is not automatically free. Getting off the ship is free, but doing those activities costs money. So, snorkeling, city tours, zip line, ATV rides, cooking classes, beach clubs cost extra, right? $40 to $350 plus is the range that you should be budgeting for if you want to do some of these different activities. A basic beach transfer may be cheaper, but for example, if you're going on an Alaska tour, it could be more expensive. Helicopter glacier tour can cost much more. All right. So just keep that in mind when you're doing those, when you're budgeting for shore excursions. On a 7 night Caribbean cruise with 4 port stops, that could be $400 to $600 per person. in just excursion costs alone. All right, keep that in mind. Specialty dining. Dining is one of my favorites. I like to budget for specialty dining. Not every restaurant on board is free. Your fare usually only includes the main dining, the buffet. Some casual food spots may be included too, but specialty restaurants cost extra. These are your premium dining options, okay? So sushi, Italian restaurants, seafood, hibachi, chef tables experiences. These may cost 30 to $60 per person. So if you want to plan for that, add that into your budget so you plan for it. Some charge a la carte pricing, right? So you just gotta budget for that. Food focused cruisers, you gotta budget for your specialty dining. All right. So drink packages can sometimes reduce the average cost of some of these specialty dining, depending on the ship. But you gotta compare the package price first. Do not just buy dining packages blindly. And yeah, you'll be all right. Now let's talk about travel insurance. A lot of people skip this. I wouldn't skip this. This is really important. As a cruise consultant, I'm obligated to ask you, are you sure that you're going to decline travel insurance or cruise insurance? Travel insurance is very important. I strongly recommend travel insurance. This is not the fun part, but it protects your trip. Travel insurance is bought before your cruise. It can protect against covered trip problems, cancellation, misconnecting flights. For example, I got somebody a cruise insurance. I never had anything happen to me on a cruise, thank God. But one of my clients, he was flying in from Chicago, and he had a connecting flight from Chicago, I think maybe Nashville, and he missed, or the flight was delayed or something. So because he had travel insurance, he missed the cruise. I'm sorry, he missed the cruise. Spoiler alert. But because he missed the cruise and he had travel insurance, he missed the embarkation. Because he had travel insurance, the cruise line was able to pay for his flight to one of the ports. So him and his wife got on a cruise. They flew him to Mexico, wherever they were docked. And because he had travel insurance, he was able to, yes, he missed like 2 or 3 days, I think, maybe 2 or 3 days. It was a 7-night cruise, but at least he got on a ship. Most of the times when you don't get travel insurance, if you miss if you miss the embarkation, you lose the trip, right? It also can cover lost luggage, illness before travel, right? Medical emergencies during travel, evacuation costs up to 50,000 or more. So these are things that you gotta don't want to plan for it, obviously. But you gotta make sure that you're covered just in case something happens. You know, so a solid independent policy on a 7-night cruise typically can cost $100 to $200 per person, but it's worth every dollar. Okay. What a cruise actually costs, the real numbers. Okay. So a cruise fare for two people in 2026, $1,400. The gratuities will probably cost you $280. Drink packages for two, $900. Wi-Fi, if you get Wi-Fi for the week, $200. Shore excursions at two ports, $600. Specialty dining twice, $200. Travel insurance for two, $300. So your real total, where you thought it was going to be $1,400, it could add up to, if you do all these things, $3,880. Not that $1,400 that you saw on the ad. This is not to scare you. This is just so that you understand, what do you want to do? You got to pay your gratuities. Maybe you want a drink package, or you pay as you go. You know, just because you're on the ship doesn't mean everything that you want to do is going to be free. You just got to budget for these things. you may decline travel insurance. So it depends. It could be anywhere from you could do nothing for $1,400. You got to pay your gratuity. So whatever that is with the gratuities, and then you'll be straight. If you don't drink, if you don't specialty dine, no shore excursions, you could keep it around $2,000 if you want. So it's not to scare you, like I said, it's just to make sure that you're planning and that you're ready for these expected costs. So how do you keep costs under control? So you don't have to buy everything. That's the good news, right? You could skip the drink packages, or you can buy it early to save, right? If you want Wi-Fi, buy it early so you can save money. Or you can skip it. You save around $200. Okay. You can also control those excursion costs. You can book some excursions independently, which could be cheaper if you're comfortable, right? The independent tours can be cheaper, but you know, if it's a reputable excursion or tour guide that can get that for sure is going to get you back on time, yeah, you could do the independent tours. Usually, if you book with the cruise line, it's more expensive, but you have that assurance that you're going to be back on the cruise. You're going to be on the cruise. So, if you do want to do independent tours, which I sometimes recommend, some people that want to take that want to do that, just make sure that you're back, close to dock 2 to 3 hours before they leave, just in case. Just try to aim for that. Maybe it's too excessive, but just try to aim for that, so that you get back on the ship on time. So you just got to plan that out. All right. Sometimes when you get off, walking around is enough for you. Okay. You might get onboard credit, and you might use the onboard credit so you can reduce some of those onboard spending. But you got to watch your onboard account during the cruise, because those small purchases add up. And when you don't want to be hit with a $600, $700 bill, when you're leaving the cruise. So just make sure that if your goal is not to spend, that you do that. Or if your goal is to spend, that you keep an eye on that onboard credit. Speaking of onboard credit, or your onboard account, I'm sorry. Now let's talk about onboard credit. All right. This is the most underused perks in cruising. It's very, very, very. I like onboard credit. It's free money, right? It can help reduce your onboard spending. You may use it on drinks, you may use it on excursions, specialty dining, spa treatment. You may use it on onboard purchases. The rules depend on the cruise line, but yeah, you can get that onboard credit. Some of it is promotional, right? Depending on the wave season, if you're cruising through January through March, you can get an onboard credit. If you do group bookings, like I mentioned before, we can get you onboard credit, $200, $300 of onboard credit, free money on the cruise. Okay. So, some come, with a cruise advisor, with a travel advisor, you can get some promotions. So take advantage of these, this free money that you can cruise with. All right. So booking with a good cruise consultant, they check for available promotions, for group options, and they help you to protect that total value. So the goal is to book smarter. It's not to book cheaper. So timing your booking is everything. Timing matters just as much as what you book, because most people book whenever they feel ready. And that can cost a lot of money because cruise prices move based on demand. So that same cruise can change by hundreds of dollars. Same ship, same sailing, different booking window. And then yeah, so that's why the cruise industry has a rhythm. And once you understand it, it gets easier to book. You don't have to guess, because you learn the better windows, you learn when the deals are stronger, you learn when perks may stack up. The biggest annual window is wave season, which we learn January through March. So that's when cruise lines start pushing for those major promotions. So these are the things that you got to look into. Wave season, January through March, every year. Do not miss it. If you can book through book, this booking window is when, yeah, you gotta look into it. You gotta look into it. This is when the cruise lines start to compete for the better deals. So some offer, some of the offers may start like January, some stretch past March. So treat that as your main booking season. It's not a magic guarantee, but promotions can include onboard credit, cabin upgrades, reduced deposits. They can include Wi-Fi. They can include drink packages, but offers depend on the cruise line, right? So it's not it's not a gimmick. It's just that those cruise lines want those early bookings, and that's how they start to fill through that wave season. Let's talk about deposits and payments and how that works. So, deposits and payments. Booking a cruise does not mean paying everything today. So, it's not like how you want to buy a flight, you buy everything today. So, you put a deposit first. That deposit holds your cabin, right? It could be anywhere from $100 per person to, depending on whatever it is, 500, whatever the price of your total fare is. That's gonna tell you what deposit you're gonna pay. So they vary by cruise lines, by promotions. Also, I've seen $25 deposits, and I've seen them be a little bit much higher, but usually it's about $100 to $500 per person. Okay, some fares have non-refundable deposits. Just check before paying, and the rest is due at a final payment. So it's usually going to be 90 days before you're sailing, and it's going to be your final payment. So you always got to look at your account, whoever you're cruising with. Just make sure when your the deposit or final payment day is, right. So Royal Caribbean says 90 days for those 5 to 14 night cruises. Carnival is 91 days for those six days longer cruises, and those shorter cruises can have different deadlines. Those group bookings can also have different deadlines. So just look into that. Look into also your cancellation rules, right? Read the policy before you deposit, right? So very important. Now, let's look at the cabin types. Cabin types. So your cabin choice can affect the entire trip. It's not just where you sleep, it affects comfort, light, space, and also obviously price, right? So inside cabins have no window. They're usually going to be your cheaper options. They're the cheapest options. They work for budget focused travelers. If you don't care about natural light, you're not going to be in a room a lot. Interior cabins are, they're not bad. I've done interior cabins on trying to get some discount trips. Right? So interior cabins are for those people who are don't really care. They're barely going to be in a room, so that's what you're doing. Ocean view is with a window or a porthole that lets in natural light. Um, so this one is obviously different from the inside cabin. They cost a little bit more. You got the balcony, which has private outdoor space. This is the most popular upgrade for many. You can sit outside privately, have your coffee in the morning with that ocean view. Mini suites give you a more living space. They also include, most of the times they include balconies. I've seen mini suites with no balconies, but yes, sometimes most of the times they have uh, balcony and a full suite. Those are going to be your premium room categories, right? So they're usually going to give you a little bit more space, more amenities. Some suites include priority benefits. Some include concierge like MSC, yacht club, or exclusive areas. But some suite perks vary by cruise line. So don't assume every suite works the same. Now let's talk about cabin location. So cabin location, where the cabin sits. All right. Cabin locations matter just as much as the type, right? Two balcony cabins can feel very different. Midship, they're a little bit probably more stable. Lower to middle deck often feel a little bit less motion. Uh, this matters if you get seasick, but these ships are good. It doesn't really matter, but it sometimes you want to be depending on where you're on the ship. Location matters, right? Because you want to protect your sleep. Maybe you're next to the pool deck, nightclub, the elevator. It depends. So you got to keep that in mind, right? If you're a light sleeper, you don't want to be sleeping next to the elevator or close to the pool or close to the service areas. So you got to be able to understand where you're booking on the ship. That's why that booking your cabin location is so important. Guarantee cabins. This is like your gamble, right? What is a guarantee cabin? Break it down for you. So a guarantee cabin is pretty much a trade-off. So it's a cabin category. So you choose the cabin category, but the cruise line is going to choose the exact room. So for example, you may choose a balcony guarantee cabin, but you don't pick the location of that balcony, right? So usually it's cheaper, right? That's the main advantage, right? But when because it's cheaper, the cruise line can put you near the elevator, they could put you under the pool deck, they could put you forward, far forward, they can put you in those noisy areas. So you just got to keep that in mind. So just because it's cheaper, is your sleep important? you know, just got to make sure you understand that gamble. So if you know that you're picky, like if you're picky, I would avoid it. If you like quiet, I would avoid it. If traveling with family nearby is important for you, I would avoid it as well, right? So now, if you book it direct, you book your cruise direct, or if you use a consultant like me, right? I'm a cruise consultant. So booking direct means that you manage everything. You call the cruise line yourself. You track your own reservation yourself. You watch your own price drop yourself. You handle changes yourself. You're asking all the questions yourself. That can work for an experienced cruiser, right? But for a first timer, you guys, first timers may miss those details. And so, what a cruise consultant does is they help guide that process, help compare the lines, the ships, the cabins, explain the total costs, what to watch for, what policies, the deadlines, payment deadlines. Um, Try to catch those better offers for you, right? Consultants, you don't pay the consultant as the traveler, right? So if you want to book with me, you don't pay me. That's what a lot of people get confused. The cruise line pays me because I helped book you. So it's like you're booking through me or through your cruise consultant. You paid nothing to him or her, but they're like your concierge in a way, right? They're your muscle. You know what I'm saying? So that's what a cruise consultant does. So you don't need to pay they can probably charge you extra for planning fees. I don't. Some people may do, right? But booking by yourself, you can do that, right? You could do it, but it's just so many. It's not like booking a flight, right? You can book your own flight, but all those different things that I mentioned when you're booking a cruise, like cruise line, cabin, location, it's just like it's a lot, right, for a first timer. So that's why it's an advantage, right? I still have experienced cruisers that still book me, right? That people that have booked 20 cruises, they like, hey man, what's up? Um, Book me a cruise, and I got them. So because I'm on the phone, I'm talking to the cruise line for them, so they don't have to worry about the headaches. I'm there, and I can help them get these different you know promotions if we could get it right. So you can book alone, but having someone in your corner is it's a no brainer, right? It's a no brainer, I'd say. Now let's talk about price drop. Price drops can happen, like I said, as a cruise consultant, right? So you can book a cruise for X price. A price drop happens because I'm watching for you, or your cruise consultant, if you have a good one, is watching those price drops for you. And once they notice those price drops, You can save money. Hey, I see the price drop $300. What's up? Talk to the cruise line, and they can either help you get onboard credit, a cabin upgrade, or a refund depending on the line, right? So you see why it's important to book with a cruise consultant, for example, or if you're watching those price drops that can happen, right? Price drops also can go up, right? But when they go down, you can add more money onto your cruise. It's a plus, right? So that's why it's really important to be checking, monitoring yourself if you can, if you booked it directly, or a consultant can help you watch those changes, right? So let's talk about loyalty now. Sign up for loyalty from day one. Every major cruise line has a free loyalty program. It costs nothing to join. You should sign up before your first sailing, and from the moment you complete your first cruise, you start earning points. You start unlocking those perks from day one. So Royal Caribbean has Crown and Anchor. Carnival has VIFP currently. Norwegian has Latitudes Rewards. Celebrity has Captain's Club, right? Those perks early on could be small, right? Higher tiers usually unlock those better benefits. Those benefits can include special offers, onboard events, discounts. So join those loyalty programs early and start building your history, right? Carnival's gonna or Carnival I think changed already their loyalty program. So, you just gotta whatever cruise line you want to go with. Usually, you're probably gonna keep cruising with them, or maybe you switch. But yeah, just start early. Start your loyalty. Sign up early. I'm sorry. Whoo, I'm talking a lot, boy. I'm starting to get tired, boy. All right. So now, that's funny. All right. So how to book? Let's prepare. Now you understand booking timing. You know wave season matters. You know deposits do not mean full payment. You know final payment deadlines matter. Cabin type, cabin location matter. Guarantee cabins are a risk. It's a gamble. Okay, you understand booking direct versus booking with a cruise consultant. Price drops can happen. Loyalty starts. You can start your loyalty early. So let's go to the next module, but you have everything as far as booking timing. So see you guys in the next module. All right, so this module is about getting prepared. Get your documents right first. So first, get your documents right. Wrong paperwork can stop your trip immediately. I recommend traveling with your passport. It removes the most travel risk, right? So get your passport if you don't have one, um, and make sure you have 6 months. If make sure your license, your passport is not going to expire in 6 months. So make sure you have 6 months of breathing room. Okay, passport rules depend on your itinerary, right? Just make sure some countries may have their own requirements, but just make sure you're just 6 months beyond your travel date. Okay, this is the safest. Make digital copies. Um, Make physical copies of important ones, but make digital copies too. Save them on your phone. Keep copies separate from originals. If something gets lost, those copies can help. Copies don't replace those original ones, but just make sure that you know you have everything, all your documentation, right? So it's not to scare you; it's just to make sure that you have all your paperwork good, right? So just travel with your passport. Like I said, some like closed loop cruises they allow birth certificates or like government issued photo ID, but just bring you just bring your passport. Second thing is download the app before you leave home. Okay, download the cruise app, whether it's MSC for me or Carnival Hub, whatever cruise you're going with. Just you know your cruise line has an app. So Royal Caribbean has one, Norwegian has one, Celebrity has one. The app helps you manage your cruise. You can check your daily schedule. You can see your activities, showtime. You can reserve dining. You can often book shows. You can track your onboard spending, right? You can complete online check-in. So just download your app before you leave home, okay? Link your booking number before you leave home as well. Set up your account at home. Don't wait until the port, because port days is hectic, and that Wi-Fi, port day Wi-Fi is very stressful. So having that app work, you know, because once you're on board, you don't need internet. Like, you don't need to pay for that internet. That your Wi-Fi, your app is gonna be. You don't need Wi-Fi to move around with your your cruise line app, right? So just make sure you download it before, so you can have all those. So it's just less frustration when you're boarding, when you're on board. Okay. All right. Packing for a carnival cruise. How to pack. How to pack for your carnival cruise. So packing should be light. It should be light. It should be smart. You should pack breathable, warm weather clothing, linen, cotton, swimwear, right? Bring clothes for the pool, for the beach. Bring casual outfits for daytime on board. Bring dinner outfits for the dining room, right? Get you some nice best dress, depending on how you want to dress, for dining, right? But a lot of people like to dress a little bit formal, a little bit elegant on those, dining nights, right? Some lines are a little bit more relaxed depending on the cruise line, right? Do not guess the dress code. Check the guest code. Check your itinerary, right? Pack sunscreen for for that Caribbean sun. Uh, so some destinations restrict certain like sunscreen chemicals, right? Like for example, U.S. Virgin Islands, they ban some, some different types of, chemicals. Just double check. Aruba also restricts some type of sunscreen for the water, for the, the reef harming. So just check with your type of sunscreens that you're about to be using or where you're going. Bring walking shoes, comfortable walking shoes, flip flops. Some of these countries have cobblestone streets, so just do your research where you're going, because some of them, like, they can punish bad shoes, right? So uneven terrain can be rough on your sandals. So just bring a small day bag for ports. Leave space for some souvenirs if you need it. Overpacking just makes returning harder. So just pack light, but don't pack careless. Packing for Alaska. Packing for Alaska is completely different from Caribbean, right? Alaska cruise is usually going to run you from May through September. Weather can still be cold. Mornings can be cold. Evenings can be cold. Glacier viewing can be very cold, right? The key word is layers. You got to use layers. So start with a base layer, add a warm mid layer, add a waterproof outer shell. You can add a waterproof jacket, if you want. Waterproof pants can help on those wet days, because rain is common on those Alaska ports. Uh, Wind near glaciers can be real sharp, so just be keep that in mind. You could bring your binoculars. Don't forget, binoculars if you want to go see some wildlife spotting. They can also help with glacier viewing too. So many people regret bringing those, right? So bring those. Bring waterproof walking or hiking shoes. Sneakers may not be enough, right? Excursions can include wet or uneven grounds. Bring gloves, warm hat, sunglasses for that glacier glare. And that's pretty much preparing for Alaska sailings. Let's talk about what not to bring on your cruise. Some things can get confiscated, right? So it's funny, man, because if you guys go on my YouTube shorts or my Instagram or TikTok, you can see like a picture that I have of like a table of just a lot of things getting confiscated. You gotta you can't bring irons. Some steamers you can bring, just you can't bring hot plates. Like, you see it all. Like, you can't bring coffee makers. You can't bring incense. You can't bring open because cruise lines do not mess around with fire risk. All right. You can't bring heater like heating blankets. These things are prohibited. So leave those things at home. Check with your cruise line just to see what you can't bring. But most of the things that are fire hazards, open flames, like these type of things that get hot, they don't play with that. So just don't bring it. Leave it at home. Okay. So don't bring more shoes than you'll actually wear. This could take up a lot of space in your bag. And yeah, skip the cruise line's own travel insurance and get your own independent policy. Right? The coverage is generally better and usually cheaper. Okay. Always fly in. Always fly in the night before. I understand maybe you fly in the same day, but please just try to fly the day. Remember my client who flew in the day before he missed his flight. He had travel insurance, which was good, right? But if he would flew in the day before, he'd have been good. Okay. Same day flights are risky. Airlines get delayed, flights get canceled, connections get missed, right? Weather can ruin those your schedule. The ship will not wait for you. So if you arrive late, the ship will leave you. Okay. So that could be expensive, it could be stressful. So that's why flying in early gives you that buffer. One hotel night protects the whole vacation, right? Book a hotel near the cruise terminal. Miami has a lot of those, hotel options near the cruise terminal. Fort Lauderdale as well. Galveston. Use that night to rest, eat a good meal, repack your carry-on, confirm your documents, confirm your arrival time, and you wake up calm on embarkation morning. Right. So now let's look at the checklist. So get a checklist. I'm gonna leave my checklist in the description. So have your passport ready, travel documents ready, print your important documents, save digital copies on your phone, save copies to your email, make sure the cruise app is downloaded, make sure your account is created, make sure your booking is linked, right? Link your credit or debit card on board if you need to. Or have like a card where you can load money on. Okay. If you don't want to link your credit or debit card, right? So uh, pack your embarkation carry-on. Keep medicine in your carry-on, keep documents in your carry-on, keep your chargers in your carry-on. All right, embarkation day. Here's what happens on embarkation day. So this is where the cruise starts to become real. Embarkation day just means boarding day. So you arrive at the cruise terminal, you check in for the cruise, you go through security screening, your documents get verified. It feels similar to like an airport energy, but usually with more like everybody happy, like everybody's. It's nicer. It's better than than the airport because I feel like for me when I go on a cruise, it's usually smooth, like the screening, security screen. Anyways, so you drop you drop your large bags with the porters. The porters then will deliver your large bags, your check bag to your cabin later. So you keep your small carry-on with you. Your carry-on should have your travel documents, your valuables, medication, chargers, swimsuits if needed, whatever is your basic essentials, right? So don't check anything urgent, right? Cabins are not going to be ready. It's not going to be ready for a while. So get comfortable. Get comfortable with the things that are in your carry-on. All right. So your let's say you start embarking what 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Your cabin probably won't be ready around like 1 to 2 p.m. So this is how you should plan for when you're going to be able to get into your cabin and have your bags and stuff. So uh, board, board ready. So you eat, walk around, learn the ship. Your first few hours is going to set the tone of the whole cruise. And yeah, let's check in. So now that we're checking in on a cruise, check-in check-in day, like I said, it starts before the cruise, right? So complete online check-in before leaving home. Do it through the cruise line app. Some lines open check-in 45 days out, like Royal Caribbean is 45 days out. Carnival is about 14 days. So always check your specific cruise line. And during check-in, you enter your passport details. Maybe upload a security photo. You may answer some health questions. You link a card to your onboard account. Yeah, you're right. So do not just show up whenever you have time that you're supposed to show up to. Like you're supposed to, you know, to you have your embarkation time, right? So have your passport ready, your boarding pass, your cards, your credit cards, your debit card. Keep everything on hand before the counter. Okay, so this is gonna make everything smooth when you're checking in. And on your first 24 hours on the ship, you want to do this, right? Do not board and wander randomly, right? Walk the ship, learn the layout, find a dining room, find a buffet or casual food spots, find a pool deck, find guest services, find a theater if you have one, if you if shows matter to you. For the kids, find a kids club if you're traveling with children. Open the cruise line app early, check the daily schedule, book important reservations early. Right, specialty dinings always fill up fast, so you got to book them early. Popular shows also fill up fast. Those prime dining times can disappear quickly. So yeah, and then you got to complete your muster drill early. Muster drill is mandatory before sailing. All right, so do not wait until last minute because it's really important to do that muster drill. All right, and then sea days. Let's talk about sea days. So sea days means no port stop. So you're on the ocean. You're in the water, right? You're in the ocean. Think of it like a resort day, right? The ship becomes the destination. Pools, food, shows, activities are open. Many ships run a full daily schedule. So you may see trivia, you may see cooking demos, you may see fitness classes, you may see live music, you may see comedy shows, you may see poolside events, nightclubs. Do not try to do everything at once. That's how a lot of people get exhausted fast. So pick one, two, three things you want to do, and then be flexible the rest of the day. Right? Check the app the night before. Save the activities that are interesting to you. Right? Plan around your meals, your relaxation. Sea days are supposed to create the best memories. So only if you treat them properly. Don't treat them like fillers. Right? Treat them as part of your vacation. All right, so let's talk about port days. Port days are where the planning matters. So you have two main excursion options: cruise line excursions and book through the ship, which usually cost more. They're more protected, right? Royal Caribbean says delayed ship tours are protected. So if it's delayed, the ship waits when possible. If it cannot wait, arrangements are handled, right? Independent tours are booked outside a cruise line. They're often cheaper. They may have smaller groups. They may feel more local if that's what you're looking for. But the timing risk is on you. So that's why I said before you want to make sure you have a big buffer time to get back on the cruise ship if you do go independent. All right. First timers should be careful. I recommend probably if it's your first time booking through the cruise, but that's what I recommend. I mean, you can do the independent route. It's not like, I mean, if you're well traveled, then you know that you can get back on the ship like in a timely manner, then do it, right? But just know that you may be taking that risk. When something goes wrong, stay calm, right? So things go wrong while you travel. The key is you got to chill. So if your flight is delayed, act fast. Contact your cruise line or your cruise consultant. Contact your travel insurance provider. Ask about reaching the next port, like I told you about my last client that did that. Right. So some guests may join at a later port, like I mentioned. Well, but you got to make sure that you You communicate that, and everything is handled right. Cruise ships also have like medical centers on board, so if you have some symptoms at sea, just go to the doctor, right? You have the medical centers on board. A lot of people don't know that. Contact your nearest embassy or consulate if something happens. If you get lost in port, if a port gets canceled, stay flexible, right? Weather and operations can change your itinerary. Um, you may get taxes or fees refunded. Just make sure that, if something happens, just stay calm, right? So sometimes if something happens and they don't go on the port, you may get onboard credit. Sometimes you may get refunded those taxes and fees. Just keep calm, and everything's gonna be okay. So, guys, we reached the end of the training. Hopefully, you learned a lot of things with me. It was fun. My name is Brad Juice, or Juice Cruises. Everybody calls me Juice. That's why my name is Juice Cruises here. But I'm Bradley Juice. I help you match the cruise to your budget. I help match it to your style. To if you're going to travel with a group, I help you do that. I look at the experiences that you want. I help you compare the ships. I help you compare the cabins, compare itineraries. I help you uh, to understand, or I explain the extra cost. I help you protect you from those bad cruise fits, monitor your booking after deposit so we can check the price promos. If something changes, I can help get you onboard credit most of the time. Sometimes, I'm not gonna say all the time, but you know, we help you get you some onboard credit so you can get some free money on board. All right. So that's why I told you, like, when you book with a cruise consultant, it's nothing. I understand it's crazy. Like, I don't gotta pay you anything, and I'm your cruise consultant. That's how it works, right? The cruise line. Once I help you get a cruise, the cruise lines pay me. So my whole goal is to help you get on a cruise, have a good time, have a great time, so you could come back, so you can understand that, hey, wow, I had a great experience with Juice Cruises. He's amazing. I'm going to refer my aunt, and I'm going to refer my cousin John, and I'm going to refer little Timmy, you know? Or yeah, so that's the whole point. I love cruises. Cruises, cruising is probably the best vacation value. Like really, even though like people talk about, oh yeah, cruises with all these different things. Like cruising, if you know, you know, it's a It's a vacation. It's a real vacation. No planning. You ain't got to plan where you about to eat, where you gonna sleep. You're moving with the hotel. The hotel is taking you to different parts of the world. And that's why I love cruising so much, and that's why I'm so passionate about cruising. I love it. So that's what you get with me if you book a cruise with me, right? So send me a message. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. Obviously, you're watching this here on YouTube. You just learned 90 minutes, maybe a little bit less than 90 minutes. I was trying to, you know, get it to 90 minutes, but yeah, maybe we almost got to. That's why I'm talking a lot right now. I'm just rambling right now. But anyways, so you understand the full first cruise framework. You now understand the basics. You know what a cruise fare includes. You know what usually costs extra. You know how to cruise. You know how to choose the right cruise line. How to choose the right ship. You know how to think about cabin type, right? Cabin location, how deposits work. Why is timing important? Why does it matter? You know, what documents to prepare, how to pack smarter. If you want, I have the description to the checklist. Get the checklist. It's totally free. It's on Google Docs. All right, you have the checklist if you need it, how to pack smarter. You learn how embarkation day works, how sea day works, how port days work, and you know why a consultant support matters, right? So, yeah, it was a great freight training. If you want any information, go to juicecruises.com for more information. If you want to chat with me, juice.cruises on Instagram, Juice Cruises on TikTok. I mean, you're going to see all this stuff on the description. So the goal is clarity before booking, right? So it was nice. We had a great time. You guys learned a lot. And see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe.